initially I still have some issues with it, but initially I was thinking that, they were taking advantage of a self-represented person who doesn't know how to deal with this. But then as I thought about the case as a whole, that's really when she started to go downhill. And so it's also when her attorney withdrew. And so I just kind of wonder, what happened in end of November, beginning of December. And I think you all said it last night about, that's when she hung out with Ash and Santos and Texas. And I don't know, wasn't she there like the whole month of December? And she just like tanked. Like that's just when it all went. I mean, it was already kind of on a bad trajectory, but anyway, I was a little bit perturbed by all the filings, that were happening while she was self-represented, because I see that, and you're just kind of like, oh gosh. Okay, moving on. I just wanted to say that little blurb. Okay. So she says that she's going to recite the current visitation orders. So number 1, on March 24, 2025, the court granted petitioner temporary emergency orders pursuant to respondent Briello. Should we call her BLO? Briello? Anyway, sorry.
No, you can call it whatever.
Okay. I just don't like to say her whole names online.
I know. I usually just say Brie too, because it's so weird to say. I don't say the whole name. I just say Brie or Brianna.
Yeah. Okay. Pursuant to which respondent Brianna visits with the minor child, baby, are required to be professionally supervised and must occur in Dallas, Texas. Attached here too as Exhibit 1, a true and correct copy of the March 24th, 2025 ex parte order. 2, on page 1 of the supervised visitation order, and then it's the form name, attached to the ex parte order at item 5, supervised visitation provider, box A is checked for professional, individual, or supervised visitation center. See Exhibit 1. Also on page 1 of the supervised visitation order, FL341A, attached to the ex parte order at item 6, authorized provider, it states to be determined by petitioner. See Exhibit 1. Number 4, also on page 1 of the supervised visitation order, FL341A, attached to the ex parte order at item 7, duration and frequency of visits, it states all visits between respondent and the minor child shall be professionally supervised. Dates and times to be coordinated by mutual agreement of the parties and the availability of the visitation monitor. See Exhibit 1. Number 5, respondent is ordered to pay for 100% of the costs of her professionally supervised visits. Number 6, the court also granted child abduction prevention orders on March 24, 2025, as set forth on the Judicial Council Form FL341B, attached to the March 24, 2025 ex parte order. See Exhibit 1. Just so that everybody knows, the ex parte order is the emergency order. So that was an emergency order that... well, she wouldn't have been present anyway, but this was presented without her. Where's I at? 6. Okay, 7. Respondent was ordered to return the minor child to petitioner at 12 p.m. on March 25th, 2025 at the LAPD Central Division Station. The court's order authorized any law enforcement officer to enforce this March 24, 2025 order. See Exhibit 1. I know really quick, a lot of that really bothered a lot of people, but the court was trying to give her a chance. It's like, we really don't want, police to come in and knock down a door and, physically take an almost 1-year-old, so they were really trying to throw her a bone. She did not take it.
Naturally.
Number 8, respondent failed to return the minor child to petitioner at 12 p.m. on March 25th, 2025 at the LAPD Central Station as ordered. As set forth in petitioner's request for domestic violence restraining order pleadings filed on March 27th, 2025, Hollywood PD was required to go to the respondent's residence to negotiate a return of the minor child. It took nearly 2 hours for multiple law enforcement officers to convince respondent to bring the minor child outside so that they could release him to petitioner's custody in accordance with the March 24, 2025 order. Petitioner filed a request for domestic violence restraining order against respondent on March 27, 2025, which the court granted in part. Respondent is ordered not to abuse petitioner. Respondent's visitation with the minor child was ordered to remain as ordered on March 24th, 2025. So we're moving on to the next point where she's now responding to respondent's ex parte requests. Number 10, as set forth herein, well, let me just actually pause for a second. So what's really nice for a judge is how clean this is laid out. You have dates, you have reference to your exhibits, you are clearly explaining to the court, like, this is what was ordered. So that way the court doesn't have to, like, then, flip back to exhibit 1 and be like,
right.
They're tabbed in the system, but still it's just nice to get a quick overview and then, to continue in a way that's easy to follow. The last order, or the, I'm not order, but the last, request for order, the ex parte request for order filed by Bruno's attorney was very hard to follow. Sometimes that's intentional. I know that bothered a lot of people, but sometimes that's intentional because sometimes they're trying to sort of muddy it up so that the judge is like, I don't know, this is just too messy, so I'm just gonna, order it.
When you said that, that's the word she used yesterday. Remember, it's about to get muddy, and then says, and this is where it gets sticky.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay,
yes, you guys. Sorry, really fast. These are not the final orders, you guys. The trial piece of it has not even started. This is just the banter back and forth and the temporary orders. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, so here's now we're getting into the actual response. So the meat and potatoes, so to speak. So number 10, as set forth herein above and in the attached exhibit 1. The March 24, 2025 order requiring respondents' visits to be professionally monitored allows petitioner to select the monitor and states that supervised visits are a professional, individual monitor or supervised visitation facility. Anyway, 11, in connection with exercising his right under the March 24, 2025 order to select the professional monitor, petitioner obtained at least a list of 8 professional monitors from the Texas Attorney General website. Petitioner also came up with a series of proposed visitation dates, including Mother's Day, respondent's birthday, and 4th of July, plus monthly 1 week-long periods of daytime visits through July 2025. Prior to the court issuing its March 24, 2025 order requiring respondents' visits to be professionally monitored, the custody and visitation orders, in effect, awarded respondent 1 week of visitation time following every 3 weeks that the minor child was in petitioner's custody. Petitioner's proposal allows the minor child would continue to have the ability to see his mother every day for 1 consecutive week every month, even though the visits are now ordered to be professionally monitored. That wasn't the most clear, but basically right. He's trying to follow what the original order was, just within the confines of supervision. Number 12, petitioner is willing and able to provide additional proposed weeks after July 2025, in the event the court has not concluded the evidentiary hearing on custody by July 31st, 2025, which they're not going to be done, guys. So this hearing is probably not going to occur on May 2nd, even to start, and it'll be pushed out quite a bit. Plus, it'll be a multi-day hearing, which will be really challenging for the court to accommodate. But, okay, now she's going into petitioner's counsel's correspondence with respondent's counsel, re-selecting a professional monitor, proposed schedule for professionally monitored visits. So now she's going to respond to the allegations that Bree's attorney made about her. Respondent retained her current counsel on April 15, 2025. Respondent's counsel and I exchanged a series of emails between Wednesday, April 16, 2025 and Monday, April 21st, 2025 regarding the selection of a visitation monitor. Attached hereto collectively as Exhibit 2 are true and correct copies of my April 16, 2025 to April 21st, 2025 emails exchanged with Respondent's counsel. The attachment comprises 18 pages. A summary is described herein below. 14. On April 16, I'm not going to read the year anymore, okay?
That's fine.
We're in 2025. On April 16, I received an email from Respondent's counsel initiating a conversation via email about respondent supervised visits in Texas. I responded the same day, sending Respondent's counsel a link to the Texas Attorney General website listing supervised visitation providers in Dallas County, Texas. Specifically, I stated my client has already started contacting monitors in the area. I sent him the below link from the Texas Attorney General website listing supervised visitation providers in that county. I did not see for the county family court approved list online. So my thought was the Attorney General's list was the next best option. California has a list, so does Oregon. Most states do, but I guess Texas doesn't. So then she says, see Exhibit 2, page 16 of 18. So that, again, that's really nice for a judge, right? They're like, oh, okay, I could just reference this right away.
Right.
And also, too, when you do that, something like that, the judge doesn't even really need to go there because there's a level of credibility, you know?
Yeah.
In that. So, 15, Respondent's counsel responded on April 16th at 6:23 p.m. stating, yikes, that's a really short list with only 8 options. She proceeds to send me a list of 4 new options proposed by Respondent, completely ignoring the fact that the March 24 order states that petitioner is to select the professional monitor. See Exhibit 2, page 15 of 18. On April 17th, at 1:22 p.m., I responded to Respondent's counsel's aforementioned email, letting her know I had been in court and hadn't had a chance to thoroughly review her email yet, and asked to speak tomorrow, April 18th, so that our clients can get set up with a monitor and Respondent can start exercising professionally monitored visits. See Exhibit 2, page 14 of 18. Number 17, rather than wait to speak with me by phone on April 18th, 2025, as requested throughout the evening of April 17th and into the afternoon on April 18th, Respondent's counsel continued to argue with me about the fact that petitioner wanted to utilize a professional monitor with the supervised visitation center, notwithstanding that the March 24th, 2025 order, which allows petitioner to select the monitor, whether a professional individual or supervised visitation center. See Exhibit 2, pages 14 of 18 through 6 of 18. Oh, she's basically saying there's a lot of emails.
Yeah.
And that actually provides some clarity because I think that his attorney got some flack, I think, because she kept going back and forth with them. But anyway. 18, I explained why petitioner was adamant about having the professionally monitored visits occur at a facility, at least initially, due to the fact that Respondent has repeatedly violated the court order, withheld the minor child from multiple law enforcement officers, and threatened to kidnap him from the professional monitor. I explained that a supervised visitation facility was more secure and that given Respondent's actions, there was a need for her to build back petitioner's trust. However, petitioner would be open to moving to a different location as long as there were no issues during the initial visits at a monitoring facility. At no point did I tell Respondent's counsel that petitioner was unwilling to allow Respondent to exercise visits. And in fact, I repeatedly attempted to clarify that Respondent could start exercising visits as soon as a professional monitor was confirmed. See Exhibit 2, pages 8 to 6 of 18. While exchanging emails with Respondent's counsel about what the court's March 24th order stated, I also contacted one of the professional monitors that Respondent's counsel had proposed to me on the evening of April 16th. This monitoring agency represented that their visitation monitors were off-duty law enforcement officers, which was reassuring. As of the date of this declaration, I am waiting confirmation that this agency meets the state of California requirements for a professional monitor, but assuming the form FL324P form, she double says form, can be filed, petitioner is willing to proceed with this monitoring agency. And I don't know, I don't love that part. But anyway, 21. Accordingly, on Friday, April 18th, 2025 at 12:15 p.m., less than 48 hours after receiving respondents' proposed list of monitors, I let respondents' counsel know that petitioner was willing to utilize one of the professional monitors she proposed on the evening of April 16th. I also let her know that I would have my client complete the intake paperwork so we could get started. See Exhibit 2, pages 5 to 6 of 18. Respondents' counsel responded to my aforementioned email on April 18th, 2025 at 12:21 p.m. stating, "We'll talk to her now." See Exhibit 2, page 8 of 18. I understood this to mean that respondents' counsel still needed to speak with respondent about petitioner's agreement to utilize the specific monitor selected from respondent's list of 4 proposals. I'll pause really quick. What that tells me is that Brianna's attorney may have been trying to call bluff, like wanting him to say no to the visits, to see if they could get him on like withholding any type of visitation. But anyway, that's just my total I don't know anything. That's just my opinion. Respondents' counsel did not follow up with me via email on April 18th regarding the monitored visits. She proceeded to serve me with a declaration on April 18th suggesting falsely that petitioner was not cooperating with the March 24th order for respondent to have professionally monitored visits. On Saturday, April 19th, I received an email from respondents' counsel complaining that petitioner's paperwork had not been submitted to the monitor. I responded the same day, letting respondents' counsel know I do not typically work weekends, but wanted to respond given the urgency and misrepresentation regarding my client. However, it was Easter weekend and I was going to be spending the day with family on Sunday. I did reassure respondents' counsel that petitioner would have his paperwork completed on Monday, April 21, 2025. See Exhibit 2, page 4 and 5 of 18. Petitioner did complete his intake paperwork by Monday, April 21, as promised. Petitioner's intake paperwork for the professional monitor the parties agreed to utilize was completed before 8:30 a.m. on Monday, April 21st. I emailed respondents' counsel at 8:34 a.m., letting her know the intake paperwork was submitted. See Exhibit 2, page 3. We appeared to reach an agreement, but inexplicably, respondent continued to argue with me. It is important to note that at no point since respondent's counsel substituted into this case on April 15th has respondent provided a proposal for dates and times to exercise her professionally monitored visits with the minor child, other than making a request for a visit on the minor child's birthday, to which petitioner agreed. Moreover, petitioner, though having the right to select the monitor per the March 24th order, agreed to use a monitor selected by respondent so that respondent can start commencing visits with the minor child as soon as possible. After confirming petitioner had submitted his intake paperwork, I initially let respondent's counsel know my position that our clients
that try to keep tapping. Do your totally frozen.
I hear you. Can you hear me?
It's saying, oh, it's good now. Lagging, can't hear, reset. We're back, all good now.
Are we good? It could have been for some reason, TikTok's been weird for me.
Okay. I mean, you never cut off from me. I could hear you, but it's lagging. Yeah, it could be. There's, you get a bunch of trolls coming in here and then they report you for absolutely no reason whatsoever. So it could be that. I haven't got a violation or anything. So just make sure this is the time, guys, when you guys keep tapping. You guys never have to give me, but tap, send your daily heart me's or whatever it is. And we'll just keep on moving along. I don't want to be on too late tonight, but we'll keep it moving.
Okay. So I'm going to restart at number 28. Thus, I emailed Respondents Council at 9:03 a.m. on April 21 with a comprehensive proposed visitation schedule through July 31st, 2025. Specifically, petitioner was proposing four hours per day on April 26th, May 11th. Anyway, we already went over the dates. See Exhibit 2, page 1 and 2 of 18. Respondents Council did not provide a substantive response, complaining that it takes 48 hours to schedule a visit once the intake paperwork was completed, and asked if petitioner had completed it yet. Notwithstanding that I had already told Respondents Council 30 minutes prior that petitioner's intake paperwork had been submitted. Moreover, none of petitioner's proposed visits were within 48 hours. All proposed visits could thus timely be scheduled and exercised by respondent, and respondent had not yet proposed any visits other than the minor child's birthday on April 26th. See Exhibit 2, page 1 of 18. 30. Yes?
No, they were just saying they love the TikTok shop, so I was showing I noticed that I matched my cup with my thing today. They probably thought I did that on purpose. I did not. I just noticed. Sorry. Focus.
No. You know what I do think is kind of sad is I wonder if Brianna's attorney is like working overtime to try to get visits, and then she's getting pushback from Brianna, which we will never know because that's attorney-client privilege. Oh. So we'll never know. And so it's curious, like I kind of wonder if some of this sort of frantic emailing, it appears, is coming from just the realization that, maybe this isn't what it's really about,
Well, that too, and the fact, remember, in the beginning, right, when John was a ain't shit or half-assed dad or whatever it was that she called him, even though he paid for everything, this is the first time any financial responsibility has fallen onto her. So yes, she wants to see the baby, but in order to do that, she now has to pay for her own travel. She has to pay for a hotel, and she has to pay $137.50 an hour for a minimum of 2 hours each time she wants to see him. So I think we're really going to find out now how bad she wants to see him. Me, I would go to the internet. I'd pay anything and everything to see mine. But let's see how.
Yeah.
The octopus matches my outfit too. I have an octopus on my head. If that gets clipped wrong and comes out, who just sent me that? If that gets clipped wrong.
Oh no.
Oh God. Don't let that be on the T pages. Later.
Oh geez. Okay. Simultaneous to this exchange of emails, we appeared on April 21st, 2025 in Department 2B for the hearing on petitioner's request for domestic violence restraining order. Because our home courtroom Department 2C was dark on April 21st, Respondents Council requested a continuance of the April 21st hearing, so the court in Department 2B tentatively set it for May 2nd. When the parties were already scheduled to appear for the hearing on custody and final orders on petitioner's move-away request. Although Respondents Council also asked the judge in Department 2B to make changes to the March 24th ex parte orders regarding respondents' professionally monitored visitation, that request was denied. Attached here too as Exhibit 3 is a true and correct copy of the April 21st minute order. So then she's going to go on now. She says, correspondence with Respondents Council regarding respondents' instant request for ex parte relief. So then this is the response to what she was actually asking for. So following the April 21st, 2025 hearing, I received ex parte notice from Respondents Council stating that she would be appearing on April 22nd. Okay, So I'm going to pause really quick. In California, I know everybody's saying that notice is not required, but that is not true. In California, you're required to notify the other party that you're intending to appear ex parte, and you have to do it within 24 hours. So, for example, if the ex parte hearings are held at 8:30, then you have to tell them at 8:30 the next, or the day before. If they're at 12 or 1:30, that's the second half of the day, then you have to notify them by 1:30. This notice is extremely informal. It can be a text message. It can be a phone call with a voicemail. It can be on TikTok, whatever. It's very informal. You just have to let them know, hey, and you have to give them an opportunity to appear. Okay, so following the April 21st hearing, I received ex parte notice from Respondent's Counsel stating that she would be appearing on April 22nd in Department 2C seeking the following orders. Combining the move away request for order hearing with the domestic violence restraining order hearing, since both are now back in 2C. Continuing both hearings past May 2nd to allow us to issue subpoenas for the domestic violence restraining order and prepare for that hearing. A set visitation schedule with Keeping the Peace, LLC, acting as the monitor in the interim for Brianna and the baby. Alternatively, a hearing on shortened time on these issues. Attached here too is Exhibit 4, true and correct copies of my email exchange with Respondent's Counsel on April 21st regarding Respondent's ex parte notice. Number 32, I acknowledge receipt and asked opposing counsel if she was aware that Department 2C is dark the week of April 21st through April 25th. She said she was not. Also, by the way, both of these attorneys, I think, mostly practice at Lamoureux Justice Center, which is in Orange County, not Stanley Mosque or any other of the LA County courts in LA. So that's another thing to keep in mind, that Brianna's attorney may just not be super familiar with that right now. So, but was moving forward with an ex parte anyway. So she didn't know, but was still going to appear anyway. In total disregard for petitioner's agreement to utilize a monitor proposed by a respondent when he was authorized to select the monitor, and his prior proposal for visits through July 31st, when respondent has failed to provide a visitation proposal to date. Respondent's counsel stated she can't stand by idly while John makes scheduling visitation for Brianna and the baby this difficult. See Exhibit 4, page 11 of 12. 33, I responded immediately stating we proposed a very extensive visitation schedule giving Brianna daily visits for 1 week per month, which is the time she had prior to professionally monitored visits being ordered. You haven't even responded other than to say it was insufficient. See Exhibit 4, page 10 of 12. That looks so bad.
Sorry, really fast. You guys, when it says it's dark, that just means that it's closed. It's just shop talk, I guess. It's just slang for that. That the courtroom was just closed is what that means. Okay, sorry.
The sun has set. Oh, yeah, that's funny. Yeah, sorry that it's closed. That's what it is. The judge must have had like vacation or something. But I will say that this is dumb,
because you know what? When I read it the first time too, obviously I knew what it meant. But when I read the chairman's like, wait, what do they mean it's dark? What, it's just one of those things. Sometimes when we read stuff that we're used to reading, and we're used to those terminologies and whatnot. And so I had to. I've said it each time we went over that. So you're not dumb at all, love. You were just fine.
I do think that it's odd to ask a court to order specific visitation schedule, but not propose a schedule. Like, what's the court supposed to do? Just like make it up themselves? Like, they don't know the parties. They don't know the situation. They don't know anything. I mean, certainly they know that it's a mess,
right?
But that's about the extent of what they know, especially if she's going to be appearing in a different courtroom. It's like, how can you do that? Like, I hate using these words because anyway, many attorneys, there we go. I have other vocabulary. Many attorneys will when they do something like this, say, this is what we are asking the court to order, like specifically. We want keeping the peace and we want these dates and times. Anyway.
And I think it helps too. I mean, I don't know about on your side, but I know my side, like whatever it is that we do, anything we do for the decision maker or whatever, if we can do things to make their job easier, it always helps, right? Like how when I was trying to read through the nonsense yesterday that Bree's attorney put out, and it was so messy, like you would read it and it'd be like an exhibit A, but that was like 40, 50 pages back, and how John's attorney laid it out so clean and clear today. I always feel, I'm not saying that that's going to change his decision, but I just always think that just makes everything just so much easier for them. They don't get as frustrated and grumpy because they're looking through a bunch of shit. And it just was so much clearer today with him. Or sorry,
yeah, I mean, they're much more likely to be listened to. But I will say, I was just talking to one of my friends. I actually think she may be listening on this live. Anyway, she's also an attorney. And I had appeared in court, and I submit. I don't know. She might be listening. I don't know. She's like texted me a while ago saying she found me. But anyway, so I was talking to her, and I was because we got everything that we had asked for because we came to court with a proposal, and it was reasonable. It certainly was not what the opposing party or opposing counsel wanted, but. I remember having this long conversation with her. I'm like, always go to court with a proposed order or propose something because, the opposing counsel showed up, and he's a well-seasoned attorney. Like he's a trial attorney. Like he's, and he just came saying, Judge, we just need to get some time for, my client. I'm trying to take out the names, and, my client. And he needs to see his child and whatever. And so then the court took it under advisement and was like, my client's, proposal is going to be what's ordered. Didn't even explain why. Just said, this is what we're ordering.
Yeah.
It's like, just come with something.
Yeah. When you go in and you have it kind of written down and it's easy, and the other person doesn't have anything to counteract. It's just easy. It just, at least my experience is just always seem to help, so just always have your shit together, be prepared, know what you want, don't be like, oh, I don't know, can we have 5 more minutes, and what I'm saying, all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, I mean, I will say in that case that I was representing, the opposing counsel was like, oh, they went from no time, 0 days, 0, no relationship, and then wanting 50-50. And I was like, okay, that's silly. But anyway, okay, moving on to this order. But I do think it's interesting, though. I just will note that I think it's interesting that there's still no schedule proposed from opposing counsel. Okay. Respondents' counsel claimed in her email sent on April 21 at 11:01 a.m., did you note the strangeness of the schedule John proposed and asked him why he was suggesting the dates that he was? I'll answer that for you.
That's what her attorney said?
Yes, hold on. Sorry, guys. Oh, geez. Let me read that. Let me start this again. This is in a quote.
So high school. What? Wait, yeah, read that again. Hold on. I need to take this all in. Hold on. Let me get my drink and back up.
Okay.
Okay, girl, I'm ready.
Oh, wait. Let me back up to number 34, and then I'll get to 35. Respondents' counsel proceeded to send me a series of emails on April 21st, wherein she repeatedly and falsely accused petitioner of failing to cooperate with visits in complete disregard for the concessions and proposals he had already made. Presumably, respondents' counsel's motives for spewing this false narrative about petitioners due to the fact that respondent would prefer to travel over Memorial Day weekend than see the minor child. And her travel plans conflict with the May 2025 visitation week proposed by petitioner. Confusingly, respondent has also failed to provide any counter visitation proposal date. Okay, that's what I was going to say. But just wait until I get into 35. But I was going to say, if she can't go that day, she doesn't need to throw a fit. It doesn't need to be a hissy fit. It's just like, hey, my client can't make it this week. any ability for movement within this? You know, can we
Right.
do this week instead?
Yeah.
But apparently it's just here is what the response is. Respondents Counsel claimed in her email sent on April 21st, 2025 at 11:01 a.m., quote, did you note the strangeness of the schedule John proposed and asked him why he was suggesting the dates that he was? I'll answer that for you, M dash. Brianna announced multiple trips for her birthday that fall on or around the exact dates John suggested. It seems like John wants to set her up, hoping she passes on time with the baby and chooses to take her trips instead. She won't fall trap to that game and will rearrange her trips accordingly. End quote.
What?
See Exhibit 4, page 9 of 12. Oh, dear.
Oh my God.
Okay.
A, like John knows, but B, that's the time that she's been requesting. It's like going back, it's that she has the 2025 holiday season. Remember, they kept complaining that he had he had all the holidays for 2024, so he's now following what the original thing was and giving him 2025. I cannot. That is so petty. I would be shocked if the judge I don't know. I would be shocked if the judge didn't say anything about this, cut the snarkiness and shit out. But that's just crazy.
But also, did I not say that it felt like, and I had not read this far down, I promise I had not, but I felt like they were trying to bait him to saying no.
Yeah.
I felt like that's what was going on when, oh, I need to talk to my client. Oh, I need to do this, because there was no expectation that he was going to say yes. And they wanted to have that he denied parenting time on the record. So now this is it. Oh man. Okay.
Well, and it's so funny though, really fast before you go on, it's crazy because again, she wants to see the child so bad, as she says, but then wants to now have the travel time. Like, that seems to be more important, and how coincidental, like, it continually just makes her look bad. As long as those trips are not booked. And again, John's been very reasonable in this entire thing. I think if she was to contact him and or respond back instead of saying, well, don't you think it's fun? Do you want to know why he did that? Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you. Well, then why'd you ask the damn question? And then just say, you know what? She has travel time on that. Can we do it the week before, the week after? You'd probably be like, all right.
Yeah, nope. Instead, it's because 2K wants to set her up, hoping she passes on time with the baby and chooses to take her trips instead.
Crazy. But she's done that always. She has done that since the first time he took her, or the first time he took him.
Yeah, it's crazy.
She has done that. She has passed on. I think that's when she got her first taste of freedom without the baby. And then, like you said, it got really bad in November when she met with Santos and Ashley and all of them. And I think that's when things really went downhill.
I mean, not really. I mean, anyway, it's sad to watch everything sort of go up in flames in front of your eyes, but still not knowing everything, because what happened in that time? I always go into the trying to figure out the why. I mean,
me too.
Anyway, so, okay. 36. To be clear, up until this point, it was assumed that respondent would want to see the minor child on her birthday and appreciate this proposal, given that in my experience, parties routinely request special carved out time on their birthdays, and also Mother's Day and things like that. But okay, 37, she didn't say that, I just added that. Okay, 37, I reiterated my request that Respondents Counsel provide me with respondents' proposed visitation dates in an effort to avoid incurring fees to respond to an ex parte motion. It is so expensive, you guys, to appear emergently. It takes forever. Anyway, okay. Respondents Counsel responded stating the issue of visitation dates is still going to be included in tomorrow's RFO, request for order. Again, she claimed, in complete disregard for my client's efforts to establish a visitation schedule, that she doesn't have any faith that sending John dates will get us anywhere. But she hadn't even sent any dates. Okay, anyway.
Right.
Okay. See Exhibit 4. I added that little explanation point. Okay. See Exhibit 4, page 8 of 12. 38. I responded by correcting the assertion that my client was somehow being uncooperative when all he had done since April 16 was try to confirm a monitor and get a schedule in place. Oh, what a freaking mess, you guys. Okay. 39. Respondents' counsel continued to argue with me about the alleged untimeliness of petitioner's completion of the intake paperwork when this is factually untrue. To be clear, I told respondents' counsel on the afternoon of Friday, April 18, 2025, that petitioner would get started on his intake paperwork, and confirmed to her at 8:34 a.m. on Monday, April 21st, that petitioner's intake paperwork had been submitted. Moreover, there was no harm to respondent for the less than 72 hours over a holiday weekend turnaround in petitioner completing his intake paperwork, because as of 5 p.m. on April 21st, 2025, respondent has still not even provided a proposal for when she wants to exercise visits.
It's crazy.